Welcome to Austria. I'm Emily Garrison and this is Around the World in 80 Bottles. Today we're going to do a traditional Austrian pancake, but we're going to do a little twist on it with what goes on top. Instead of maple syrup, we're going to use some pumpkin seed oil and some fresh fruit to make something a little more interesting that you can use even if you're not doing it for breakfast. You can do it for a dessert course with a big red wine. You could serve this as a breakfast as well. The first thing we want to do is start with a cast iron skillet, and we want to add a tablespoon of butter, and we're going to put that in the oven at 325 degrees and let it get nice and melted, and then we're going to put the rest of our pancake together. So for our pancake, we've got our eggs, our salt, and our sugar. We're going to add a little bit of flour. I'm going to start to whisk this together. You know, a traditional pancake like this actually calls for several different bowls, and you take one and then you mix it together and add it to another one and keep going. What I've done is taken the steps out by using Qimiq, which, as you know, is one of my favorite tricks for the kitchen, and it makes everything a one bowl preparation, making it much easier for you at home to do what I'm doing. So we're actually gonna put that Qimiq in instead of heavy cream. Now, your traditional Austrian pancake is super high in fat, especially because what you're going to add at the end of it is maple syrup, which is even fattier and more sugar. So once again, we have decided instead of syrup, I'm putting a fruit compote on the top, and also instead of cream, we're going to use Qimiq. And Qimiq has half the fat of heavy cream, so it makes it a really nice way to get the flavor you're looking for without it being so heavy. I'm gradually whisking this in, and then I'm going to add some milk. So there's the rest of our quote-unquote cream, our Qimiq, which also, the fact that we use Qimiq, I used a little bit less butter in the recipe, which makes it even better for you. I've yet to sit down and figure out the nutritional content of this, but I know it's better for you than what I've been having in the past. Just making it nice and smooth. We'll add a little bit of our milk and then put the rest of it in just to make sure we keep it nice and smooth. Now the one that's going to go with this week is actually a Blaufrankish made by Glatzer, and it's got a nice chocolate, rooibos tea, and blueberry undertone, and it's a huge wine, but I think with the nice berry flavors it's going to be beautiful with this once we do it. Now if you did it the traditional way and did maple syrup, I don't think it would taste as good because you'd need a sweet wine. But we're going to make it savory because instead of syrup, we're going to use a little bit of sugar, and we're going to use some plums and some onions and some of our wonderful Austrian pumpkin seed oil. Now that you've got all your ingredients whisked together, and it's that simple, it's one bowl, just everything all together, we're going to take our cast iron skillet out of the oven, add this mixture, and then let it cook for 35 minutes. And in the meantime, we're going to make our compote, and we'll be set for dessert. Here's what it looks like coming out of the oven. Now, this actually does a lot better if you serve it while it's hot, although it's a little bit harder to cut into, but it's well worth it. You can see that steam just coming right out of it. So delicious. So instead of maple syrup, which is the traditional topping, we're doing plums and onions macerated in pumpkin seed oil and sugar. So that makes for a very savory / sweet accompaniment. And we're going to top that with the Vermont Butter and Cheese Creamery Crème Fraiche, which is my favorite crème fraiche of all time. It's so fresh and so wonderful. and it makes so many dishes complete. We're using Vermont butter and cheese for butter, crème fraiche, and quark in a lot of the recipes that you see here. And this makes for a great breakfast if you want something more savory, a great end to a meal, or you can just eat it on its own. So enjoy this with our big red. You can also have this with a bubbly or with an ice wine. And I hope you enjoy this trip on Around the World in 80 Bottles. I'm Emily Garrison. Cheers!